to talk about another one of my favorite movies, and it is A Wonderful Life. I don't know if you've seen these two. Let me definitely recommend A Christmas Carol and A Wonderful Life. If you hadn't seen them, watch them this Christmas. You'll find them somewhere. I subtitled it, Your Life Touches Many Others, because I think that's what a lot of the movie is about. And that's what I want to talk about today. Now, just to get you haven't seen it, anybody here not seen It's a Wonderful Life? Oh, well, that's good. All right. Just to remind you then, George Bailey, he always wanted to build buildings and travel the world and really do big things. And it ended up through some series of circumstances where he just stayed in his little town of Bedford Falls. He ran a building and loan, small-time institution, had a wife and 4 children, and as far as the world noticed, maybe not that big a name. And so this comes up in his life when there's a time when he really gets discouraged because his uncle, and at Christmas time of all times, had taken the deposits, was going to take them and put them in the bank, $8,000, put it in a newspaper, and if you remember the old rich guy, Mr. Potter, he was bragging on his nephew who was coming home. He had saved a lot of people in World War II, got the Congressional Medal of Honor, they were going to have a party that night, and he accidentally left the paper with Mr. Potter with all the money in it. And he couldn't remember, like we do sometimes, couldn't remember what he'd done with that. And so now he tells George Bailey, and George is, oh, what am I going to do? And that's where we come in this movie. So I think that George Bailey, in the life of in It's Wonderful Life, has some lessons for us in our life. I really do. Really important lessons. So here's number 1. Many of us have faced life not working out like we planned. Maybe we planned a different career, a different college, or to go to college it didn't work out, or a different marriage, or a different way with children, or place to live. Somehow, all of us probably have had some things in our life not working out like we planned. And that's what happened to George Bailey. It probably happens to all of us. All right, let's see a little clip here.
Next year and a year after that, I'm shaking the dust of this crummy little town off my feet, and I'm going to see the world. Italy, Greece, the Parthenon, the Colosseum. Then I'm coming back here and go to college to see what they know. And then I'm going to build things. I'm going to build airfields. I'm going to build skyscrapers 100 stories high. I'm going to build bridges a mile long.
All right, that's what I want to see. That's it. Boy, he's got plans. And they fall down. They just get all destroyed. And he thinks now he's frustrated because of what has happened with Uncle Billy, all the good he's done. So this leads me to point number 2. When we are frustrated with life, and who has not been frustrated with something in life? All of us. When we are tempted to take that frustration out on innocent people. A lot of times, when you don't understand why somebody's all of a sudden aggravated with you, it's maybe something else. They had a fight with their wife or their husband, or their boss jumped on them about something, or the traffic was terrible. But a lot of times what we do is we take that frustration out on innocent people, which is not good. This is a little bit hard to see, this clip, especially if you ever had this happen to you. But look at this clip.
Oh, Mr. Welch. Okay, that's fine, Mr. Welch. Give me a chance to tell you what I really think of your wife. Will you get out and let me handle this? Hello? Hello? What? Oh, you will, huh? Okay, Mr. Welch, anytime you think you're man enough, you... Hello? Eddie? How should I know? What do you think I am, a dictionary? Tommy, stop that, stop. Janie, haven't you heard that silly tune yet? You play it over and over again. Now stop it, stop. Sorry, Mary. Pete, I owe you an apology, too. Sorry. What do you want to know?
Nothing, Daddy.
What's the matter with everybody? Janie, go on. I told you to practice. Now go on, play.
Oh, Daddy.
George, why must you torture the children? Why don't you... Bedford 247, please.
Is Daddy in trouble?
Yes, Pete.
Shall I pray for him?
Yes, Jenny, pray very hard.
Me too?
You too, Tommy.
Boy, if you ever tempted to take out your frustration on somebody, remember this clip. What that can do to other people. He wasn't mad at them. He was mad at life. He was mad at Uncle Bill. He was mad at not having a movie. He was mad at not getting to do what he wanted to do. And he takes it out on people who didn't do anything to him. And we're tempted to do that. That's not good. Let's please resist that temptation. But thank God he had a good wife like Mary who realized that wasn't her husband. And she went and did something to help. And she said, let's pray for him. So we need to remember that when we see people like that. We're frustrated and we want to take it out on innocent people. Number 3, frustration can lead to despair, which leads to dark thoughts. See, we get frustrated about something, and if we're not careful, our mind lies to us. Did you know your mind can lie to you? Your mind doesn't always tell you the truth. Your mind tells you things like, what's the use? It doesn't work. Why be with your family? Your family would be better off without you around. Your church would be better off with you around. The whole world would be better off without you around. Your mind tells you lies like that. 132 people a day in America commit suicide. 132 people today, if it's an average day, today will kill themselves because they think there's no more hope. And 132 more will do it tomorrow. And so we got to not believe those lies, not let that frustration, that's not the day to talk to somebody. But don't lead to these despair. See, George, if you remember the movie, he went out on a bridge, he was going to kill himself. He thought everybody would be better off if he just jumped in the river and drowned. But then he meets Clarence. So I want to see a clip where we first meet Clarence.
I didn't have time to get some stylish underwear. Why give me this on my last birthday? I passed away in it. Oh, Tom Sawyer's drying out too. You should read the new book Mark Twain's writing now. How did you happen to fall in? I didn't fall in. I jumped in to save George.
You what? To save me?
Well, I did, didn't I? You didn't go through with it, did you?
Through with what?
Suicide.
Oh, it's against the law to commit suicide around here.
Yeah, that's against the law where I come from, too.
Where do you come from?
Heaven? I had to act quickly. That's why I jumped in. I knew if I were drowning, you'd try to save me. You see, you did. And that's how I saved you.
Very funny.
Your lip's bleeding, George.
Yeah. I got a bust in the jaw in answer to a prayer a little bit ago.
Oh, no, George. I'm the answer to your prayer. That's why I was sent down here.
How'd you know my name?
Oh, I know all about you. I've watched you grow up from a little boy.
What are you, a mind reader or something? Well, who are you then?
Clarence Artbody, AS2.
Odd buddy. AS2, what's that AS2?
Angel, second class. Cheerio, my good man.
All right. See, that's what we think a lot of times. We get busted in the mouth, we think that's the answer to our prayer. That's what I get from prayer. But that's not it. It says the angel was an answer to his prayer. And he was. And so, a lot of things, same with our life, including this. This movie is like your life. You don't really understand it if you don't see the end. Now, if I stopped right there, or we stopped right there with the movie, we don't get it yet. You know, we go right there with our life a lot of times when we do something good for somebody. We maybe drive over, take a meal to somebody that's sick, and have a flat tire on the way home. And we feel like no good deed goes unpunished. What's the use of trying to help anybody? And so we want to remember, this is not the end of the movie. This ain't the end of our life. And the grave is not the end. We always have to remember the grave is not the end. There's more beyond. And I believe there'll be a day when we'll be talking to some other people. And you remember when you brought that meal over to my house that time? That turned us from dark thoughts to positive thoughts. God sent somebody to care for us. This is not the end. All right, let's look at the next lesson. You sometimes realize that you don't realize what you have until you've lost it. And that's what happened to George. He was in despair to commit suicide. He didn't realize what he had. And if you watch the whole movie, which we're not going to do now, that's what Clarence did. He reminded him what he had. And now he lost because it was as if he had never been born. And here's this last clip that Clarence shows him right now.
Are you sure this is Bailey Park?
No, I'm not sure of anything anymore. All I know is this should be Bailey Park. But where are the houses?
We went here to build them. Your brother, Harry Bailey, broke through the ice and was drowned at the age of 9.
That's a lie. Harry Bailey went to war. He got the Congressional Medal of Honor. He saved the lives of every man on that transport.
Every man on that transport died. Harry wasn't there to save them because you weren't there to save Harry. You see, George, you really had a wonderful life.
Yeah, your life touches so many others.
Clarence! Clarence! Help me, Clarence! Get me back! Get me back! I don't care what happens to me! Get me back to my wife and kids! Help me, Clarence, please! Please! I want to live again! I want to live again! I want to live again. Please, God, let me live again. Hey, George! George! You all right? Hey, what's the matter? Now get out of here, Bert, or I'll hit you again. Get out! What the Sam Hill you yelling for, George? George? Bert, do you know me? Know you? You kidding? I've been looking all over town trying to find you. I saw your car piled into that tree down there, and I thought maybe you... Hey, your mouth's bleeding. Are you sure you're all right? What you... My mouth's bleeding, Bert! My mouth's bleeding! Do the pedals. Do the... There they are! Bert! What do you know about that? Merry Christmas! Well, Merry Christmas! Merry! Merry! Yay! Yay! Hello, Bedford Paul! Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, George! Merry Christmas, movie house! Merry Christmas, Emporium! Merry Christmas, you wonderful Billy and Lone! Hey! Merry Christmas, Mr. Potter! Happy New Year! could eat you.
All right, now he hadn't got, if you've seen the movie, so I'm not the movie spoiler, he getting ready to get the money to pay it. But until now, nothing changed. From when he was getting ready to jump off the bridge, nothing has changed yet, except his own attitude, his own heart. And he comes back, he's happy to be in Bedford Falls, which he had so much wanted to get rid of, that town. He didn't care if he was going to jail. He was even happy with the old broken down house and the thing. He was glad he had it, and he loved his kids. A lot of times it's just our attitude about whether we're happy or not. He had a wonderful life, and now he realized what a wonderful life he had. And they had touched so many other people, which is why number 7, I think let's skip over. Yeah, skip over that and go to 7. There will be a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Now let's read the verse, and then I'm going to talk about the main thought of this whole message. Yeah, the clip first. Yeah, let's read the clip first. I thought, go ahead.
Buried it, she told some people you were in trouble, and they scattered all over town collecting money. Didn't ask any questions, just said, George, you in trouble, and tell me, idiot. What is it? I spent my fair. Here, George, very good, Billy. There we are, the line corners on the right. We're coming, George.
Now get this. It's from London.
Oh.
Mr. Gower cabled you need cash. Stop. My office instructed to advance you up to $25,000. Stop. Edie Haw and Merry Christmas, Sam Wainwright.
How about some wine?
To my big brother George, the richest man in town.
All right. I love happy endings. That's why I'm a Christian. Be a happy ending. Let's read the verses, then I'll talk about it. Some of my favorite verses. Share each other's burdens. Anybody's got a burden? Family member? Friend, church folks? Share each other's burdens, and in this way obey the law of Christ. If you think you're too important to help someone, you are only fooling yourself. You are not that important. Nobody. Nobody is too important to help somebody else. So, let's not get tired of doing what is good. And in King James it says, let's don't be weary in doing good. It's weary sometimes. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Therefore, whenever we have the opportunity, we should do good to everyone, especially to the family of faith. And what that means is, don't step over people around to you to do good. Start where you are. Somebody in your family needs you to do good, help them out. In your family of faith here, they need you to do good, help them out. We have a responsibility for our family of faith, and of course there's some others who haven't been coming because of COVID. We have a responsibility to do good to them and into everyone when we have an opportunity. We're not too important to do good, and we reap a harvest of blessings when we do, if we don't give up. But here's the thing. It's easy, like George, to get weary. When it looks like things aren't going good. When it looks like it's not working. When you try to invite somebody to church and you invite 10 or 15 people and none of them ever show up, you say, what's the use inviting anybody to church? When you try to tell somebody about Jesus and they don't want to hear it, they're more interested in lunch. You say, why should I tell anybody about Jesus? When you go to help somebody and you have a flat tire or they don't even appreciate it, what's the use of trying to help? When you try to encourage somebody and they don't even give you any response like you did it, you get weary. You get tired in doing good. When you try to feed some people who need some, and it's hard to do it in a small area with not much money, not much help, you get weary. When you meet in a little storefront church, you can get weary trying to do good. And that's what happened to George. He got frustrated, he got tired, he got weird, he wanted to quit. And then he learned at the end, look what he'd reaped. He had really done things he didn't even know he did. So I want to end with these statements. You are not a failure if you're doing God's will. You may even, like I said, our mind lies to us and tells us we're a failure. If you're doing God's will, you're not a failure. Doesn't matter whether the world notices you or not, you make a lot of money. You are not a nobody if you're helping people. You are not a nobody, which means you are a somebody in God's sight if you're helping people. You are not poor if you have friends and people that care for you. That's why one of my favorite lines in that whole movie is when his brother says to George Bailey, the richest man in town. Did he have more money? No. Mr. Potter had more money, including the thousands of dollars he stolen from them in the newspaper, the buzzard. I'm not saying everybody that's rich is a buzzard, but some of them are. Some of them ain't. But that doesn't make them any better and doesn't make them any richer. In what's really important. The richest man in town was the guy who just plodded along, helping people. He could plod. He could just every day get up and do what he's supposed to do. Love his wife, love his kids, help somebody get a house, be honest, be diligent. He could plod along every day with that, and then he reaped a harvest of blessings. Now here's what I think. Well, I believe with all my heart, we're going to heaven someday. And we're going to meet some people up there. And somebody's going to say, I heard you prayed for me. I got saved after you died, but thank you for praying for me to get saved. I got to go to heaven. And somebody say, I don't know if you remember, but you're the one who invited me to church. And I became a Christian. Or your life inspired me. I looked at you and you wouldn't quit with all the troubles you had. that encouraged me, thank you. Or thank you for helping me when I was down. I needed to know if God loved me, and you showed me God's love for me, and that helped me. I believe you're going to hear some people in heaven thank you for what you've done. You will reap a rich harvest of blessings if you don't quit. And our lives are like when you throw a rock in a pond, the ripples go out. You help somebody who helps somebody else, who helps somebody else. I think the guy who led D.L. Moody to the Lord was a shoe salesman. But D.L. Moody led thousands to the Lord. Your life touches so many others. Now, it does it for bad, but also for good. So let's do good. Let us do good, it says. Because we will reap a blessing if we don't give up. And so this last thing. This is not the last one, I'm sorry. God has a different opinion of what's important. Who do you think God thought Mr. Potter was the most important person in Bedford Falls? I don't think so. I probably shouldn't have used the word opinion. It ain't his opinion, it's his judgment. Do you think God is impressed with somebody because they have $1 billion? He's not impressed at all. It's what they do with that billion, or million, or 1,000, or 100. And so let's not remember how the world rattles who is important, but what God thinks important. And now, this last one. Many times, we don't see the results of the good we do. See, George was not thinking about all the good he had done. He didn't see all the results. Our job is not measuring results. Our job is to be faithful to whatever task God places in our way. All right? Don't just sit there and tell yourself, I'm not doing good, I'm not doing any good. You just do good. You just every day, God, today, help me to do what you want me to do, and step out that day willing to speak for Jesus and love people and help them. And you will touch so many others and reap a rich harvest of blessing.